Where I'm about to head to is Barchart. So when I'm showing y'all, this is actually on the free version that you can use. You can use this on the free version as well. When we're here and then we typed in PayPal, this is what pops up. You're going to have all of your fundamental metrics that pop up. Over here is where you're going to have your technical analysis options that you can go to. So the first one that we're going to go to here is the put call ratio. All right, we need to see where is the market favoring it in the first place. So we come down to the bottom of the screen and you're going to have for the current session, right? So when we look at the put call volume, right there, the volume to the upside was more by about 6,000, and that's today. But what we really want to check is the open interest. So the top number is the put and the bottom number is the calls, right? Or in the middle is the calls. Y'all look at this. Because volume is the amount of shares and contracts that are currently being traded like today. So this is constantly updated, constantly changing. It's always going up, it never goes down. Open interest is the amount of shares and contracts that were bought on Tuesday and held overnight until whenever they sell it, right? So there's still an open interest in this position. Y'all look at that. It's double. 577,000 open for puts, but 1.2 million positions open for calls. Automatically, if you pulled this up because you wanted to be on the put side, yeah, go back to your chart. You didn't look at something right. We're looking at the expiration dates. And so again, we have the open interest over here, but if this is something that I'm actively looking at getting in right now, right? Like my chart is telling me, bam, it's go time. It just broke out of this range. I really want to look at the volume because this is showing me the volume for today. So I want to see high open interest, letting me know that they have an interest in hanging on to this position, but I want to see them actively entering into it. So I'll look at the put call volume. Well, we know we're just looking at the call volume, and then I'm going to look for what expiration date had the most volume. So we see that it was the 1/17/2025. So y'all can already see on the market, my skin looks good. Y'all can already see that the market has held. The buyers is totally believing that, oh snap, that was the dip. But then it broke and it made a new high. Y'all know crowd psychology, right? The market just made a new high. It just made a new high 3 different times, like in 48 hours. So of course people are buying they're buying into 2025 at this point. So it makes sense that 1/17/2025 has the highest call volume today. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and click on that. And then it will bring up the option chain for you. So with PayPal, before we even go there, let's pull up the chart because you want to know what you're looking at before you even hop up in something, right? You gotta look at your chart first. Okay, yeah, there. So let me turn these moving averages off because those are in the way, and all you need is trend lines and key levels, I promise. That's what I like to think. You don't need all this fancy language. I'm a gap girl, and I'm gonna go ahead and mark this gap off. And yeah, it was an earnings fall, right? But I'm still gonna mark that off because that was large. And so since it gapped down, I'm looking at that as it created a supply zone. Now, this was back in August 2023, right? August 2023, and look how PayPal has respected that level since. Now, look right here. You see how the volume was increasing as price was moving up? The volume was actually increasing, but then when price came down, look how the volume is low volume, right? This is a low volume pullback. So a volume pullback. They're just accumulating price right here on this zone. Now y'all see this gap down there as well. And I think there's so many different ways that you can skin a cat in the market. Like, it doesn't matter if you look at this as a supply zone first, but look how price came and it's holding it as support since. Holding it as support since. So now, to me, this is actually a buy zone. So meaning a demand zone. Boom, we got this in this consolidation, all of this. And then my last step that I want to look at, I'm actually going to go to the weekly. PayPal is like a slow burner, so it's just nothing that I expect to be extraordinarily. Now, I might be forcing this a little bit in the thing because we got the king in the chat talking about chart patterns or patterns, right? A chart pattern is only validated if it plays out. I do see what could potentially be if this does break here. We're on the weekly. It does look like it has some room to come down. If it comes down but still holds in this zone, look, y'all, like follow the crosshair. It would hold that same low where the left shoulder was. So I low-key want this to break this trend line and come down a little bit, kind of give us that. And if it pushes back up and closes above the top of this gap, it would be game time, right? So when I'm looking at this with the thought process of, I would love for this to pull back towards like 58, 59, right? And give us like that pattern, which gives an extra step of price action confirmation to people who do trade patterns, right? In that way, I would love that. So I'm like, I'm already in my head saying, let me pay attention to the 58, 59 level because I want to see if maybe they're buying in the money at that level for price, expecting for price to pull back some, right? Because another thing that I want to show y'all is the fact that PayPal is extraordinarily bullish. This trend line that I just marked off right here, this is starting from August 2022, from this high. Y'all, PayPal broke this resistance trend line. And this goes all the way up to like 2021. A 3-year trend line and it finally broke. Come on now. PayPal is actually very, very bullish. Their fundamentals are great. So we're back there, and then if I'm looking here, again, this is where we marked off like that gap. With this being so bullish, I would absolutely expect that it would break to the top of this gap, which is around 73, and then continue to go, all right? So not only am I looking at the 58, 59, I'm also looking at 73 to see if that's popping up as I'm coming in and looking at these. With the strike price, up here, it only shows you the first 10. At the top is the calls, and then the bottom is the puts. And we can see a lot of information. You can see the option chain for like the bid and the ask, what the last price was, what the change in price was, right? You can see what the current volume is, the open interest, the delta, IV, all of that. And this is free. You do not have to pay for this site to be able to do this. All right, so clearly we're looking at calls. We're at the right place. I'm going to go ahead and here where it says near the money, I'm going to click to show all. And then what I'm just scrolling and doing is I'm looking in the open interest tab here. And then I'm just going to, first, I'm going to look at those first sets of numbers. So we were saying about 57. So we have this 57.50 strike price right here, which is, I mean, I ain't counting nobody pockets, but it's going to cost you $12.40 per contract. And it didn't even have a lot of volume on there. Not interested in that one, but I see that the 60 has 11,000 with the open interest right there. That's still expensive. So buying in the money is expensive, of course, we already knew that. But we also have a target that we're looking at. And what did we say the target was? Like 73? So I'm going to go ahead and look at 75. Y'all look at that. The open interest at that target is 11,000. The volume on it today was here. Now this plus 16 that we see here is the open interest change. So this is telling me that today they actually held 16 positions overnight. So like this morning when this updated, 16 more positions were added to the 75 strike price. Now 75 is just at the top of that gap, right? Because I do like to get into swing trades and let them go into the money. But that contract is also $4. Again, I'm not counting people pocket, but I totally understand who my community is. Y'all don't want me calling out trades that are $4 or $5. So now this is what we're going to do. We're going to pull up PayPal over here, and we're going to come down to look at the 1-year price target. And this is telling me that analysts have projected that by the end of I can't stop shaking. By the end of 2024, PayPal is projected to be at $120. Baby, I could go further off the money. PayPal is projected to be at $120. On average, it will be $75. Meaning that you can look at this just by using these analyst estimates, and you can say that 75 is your support level that you're watching. And you could also say that when PayPal breaks 75.21 and it closes above 75.21 on the weekly, guess what you need to do? Get your butt in and then give me my flowers. Okay. All right. So we're going to look further out because you're telling me this could go to 120 per. Frick that 75 call with your real expensive self. Okay. Because don't nobody got $420. Well. All right. So we're going to go further out here. Y'all. Look, we're down here in the 100 and above. Look at this open interest. Look at this open interest. Do we see 167,000 with 1,100 for the volume today? And they steadily adding positions? What strike price is at? 140. How much is it? 14 cents. And that is how I find my leaps. Any questions?